And it's been my experience usually that the older shooters and stuff are usually pretty polite.
Asshole, your business here is done, right?
Yeah.
So get the hell out of here.
Be polite, be nice.
Well, once again, it's the gun cranks. They keep trying to put us down just because we get around. But it's the gun cranks. I'm Guns Magazine editor Brent Wheat, along with American Handgunner editor Tom McHale. And we're joined for the second week in a row by the lovely Roy Huntington and the beautiful Suzi Huntington. Did I get that right?
I want to be lovely. I want to be
okay,
lovely.
lovely.
He's beautiful.
Well, you can actually be both lovely
Roy.
and all that, and then there's Roy. So we've got a face for radio, but they gave us video cameras anyway. Well, guys, this is going to be a fun topic. This is something Tom McHale suggested, so I'm going to kind of let him do the lead in here. That it's don't be a range Karen. Okay, what's a Karen, Tom?
A Karen. You know, a Karen's one of those people who, like in the grocery line. Okay, here's a Karen move. You're in the grocery line and you're in the checkout lane, the quick checkout lane that's 10 items or less. A Karen is the person 3 behind you in the line who's coming forward to count your items, right? Make sure you've got less than 10 or 10 or less. And they're like, wait a minute, those bananas count individually, so you're at 14. That's a Karen.
Okay.
You know, a Karen's butting into everybody's business and, you know, doing all that jazz all the time and just generally being annoying.
Okay, but why?
So on the gun side, you're talking like a range officer that might be a little overzealous to the point they wear kind of a Hitler mustache and goose step on the range. That might be a male range Karen.
Well, here's a range Karen. At my range, there's I haven't seen him in a while, but he would hang out and he'd take the end spot and he would stay there for 5-6 hours. Great, knock yourself out. And about every 20-30 minutes, he had a nice .22 rifle. He had these little tiny targets, you know, each one was yay big on a sheet, and he would shoot a 5-shot group over about 5 minutes, and you know it'd be real good, you know, it was a nice rifle, and but in between those rounds he would just wander the range, and you'd be shooting, and he would just kind of hover over your shoulder, you know, inspecting things, and he would kind of
I know that guy.
Kind of shake his head like this, and you know, and he'd kind of shuffle on to the next person and kind of inspect their gear while they're shooting, like getting in their way and leaning over their shoulder. And, you know, he was absolutely a range Karen.
Why is it always a woman that gets thrown under the bus? Come on. Really?
Well, this
Karen?
was a man.
I know.
Well, I think he was a man.
But we're calling
He did not
him,
tell me his pronouns.
But we're calling it Karen. Why don't we call
I
it
didn't make up Karen.
something else?
Call it.
Don't be a Karen, Susie.
Do
not be a Karen. Right?
Dylan, right?
Let's call it a Dylan. There you go.
It's a Dylan. Don't be a Dylan if you're a guy. No, but you're exactly right. And Susie's exactly right. It's across the board. It's both sides. I mean, the example you gave were guys who were being idiots. But, you know, I just think Karen is synonymous with thoughtless and overbearing and self-righteous and all of those other things.
Okay, but my sister's
great
name
words for that.
is Karen. So, Karen, I apologize.
that's
We're not talking
unfortunate.
about you specifically.
That's right. She's I-N, not E-N. So it's different. But I think it's like when you're at the range and the guy brings his Smith & Wesson X-Frame 500 Magnum revolver and goes next to you, right? And then proceeds to rapid fire 50 rounds. And it just destroys everything. It destroys the day. It destroys everything about your experience at the range that day. And they're completely oblivious of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's a range Dylan or a range Karen. You know, I mean, it's just, that to me, that's it. It's like you need to be thoughtful. You know, be polite, be nice.
Have you guys ever run into the ceasefire guy? If you're on a range where they have to call ceasefire to set targets. Ceasefire, I've fired my 3 shots. Really? Seriously? And if you don't all ceasefire, he'll stand there, arms crossed, tapping, doing the as loud as he can so you can be heard over your hearing protection. Yeah, that's the guy you want to get down range and then call. Range is hot, but you're not supposed to.
That's definitely a range Karen move. That happened to me today. I was at the range for a couple hours before lunch today, and there was a group that literally every 4 minutes they'd want to go cold, and go look at their targets that were 7 yards down range. 7 yards. Like,
wow.
they're standing around looking at their watches like, we need to go cold again. Like, it's only been 8 seconds. Come on, Karen.
No, I will say that in my experience, it's transitioning to younger people, the I-me generation, the people who've never had any boundaries and everybody's won a trophy and, all that kind of stuff. Is that they're the ones whose worlds stop at the end of their nose. And so, like you say, if they need to go down and look at their target, then they need to go down and look at the target. And they absolutely don't care how that might inconvenience anyone around them. And it's been my experience usually that the older shooters and stuff are usually pretty polite, and they're respectful and they help you and they're patient. And, there's exceptions, of course, but.
Of course, the dangerous Karen would just walk forward. They would start to walk forward and expect you to read their mind. That
I've had that happen.
Yeah.
I don't think
I'm
you
going
have
up
to
there. I'm
stop
looking at my
shooting if they
target right
don't
now.
say cold range. I think you can keep shooting. It's the rules.
My bad. Sorry.
Oops. Oh, I pulled that one.
Yeah. I've found that if you put one right over their head, that snapping, buzzing BB noise, they go down and then they run real fast back to the line. So I've heard that.
Yeah, I know. But I think we have to reaffirm though. We call this range Karens or range Dylans, but we all know that transfers across the entire gamut. If you're hunting in a hunting camp, don't be that guy. If you're at a trade show, don't be that guy or that girl. If you're at just anything, it's good sense. And
let me hold you there real quick. Suzi and I did a podcast here, I don't know, just off the top of my head, about 5 or 6 episodes ago, maybe longer than that. It was called Douchebags and Divas, which is my favorite title ever. And it was how not to be that guy or a Karen in hunting camp. And Suzi's experienced that. Well, we all have. So I always remember when somebody said, "What's your favorite podcast episode title?" It's Douchebags and Divas. So that's what we're talking about. But Roy, I'm sorry I interrupted. Go ahead.
Oh, that's all right. Well, in an attempt to be a good brand ambassador, and shooters are a brand, if you think about it. We have to market ourselves positively. We have to have representations that represent us in a positive manner. As somebody, I can't remember who it was, whether he said, don't try to sell, attract customers, and that's what we need to make sure that we do. And so if you're at the range and you're being thoughtless like that, hey, I have my new, semi-auto 308 short scout rifle. So you're going into the 7-yard indoor range and blasting magazine after magazine. What you may not have noticed was that 2 lanes down was a dad and a 13-year-old daughter, and he's trying to teach her how to shoot a 22. And so that's where I think you need to look at that and say, oh, you know what? There's a youngster and with a father. I'll wait to shoot my rifle until they're done. But
I kind of think you guys actually looped over back to the douchebags and divas, because what you're talking about is people who are just unaware of their surroundings. Karens are very aware of their surroundings. That's true. Because they're going to tell you that you just crossed that line with the little tiniest part of your toe, right? So Tom, am I right? A Karen is different than a douchebag and a diva. These are people.
Karen gets in your business.
Karens are busybodies.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
You know what? It just occurred to me. If you really want to know what Karens are, just go to any homeowners association meeting. You're full of Karens.
There we go.
Yeah.
And the president is the King Karen.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. Sometimes I have a lot of sympathy for the board people and those things. Like, how on earth do y'all put up with this,
Well, that could be a whole nother topic.
They asked to be in those positions. I don't feel sorry for them at all.
Yeah.
That could be a whole nother topic because I'm sure Roy and Susie, being former law enforcement, have dealt with it too. You get the neighborhood dispute call and you go out there and it'll be like, I'm the vice president of the homeowners association and this lawnmower has been sitting in the yard for 2 days.
Yeah.
Okay. Why is law enforcement involved? Well,
So
we've
I
told them
called the
repeatedly.
police.
Yeah.
Is your cat stuck in the tree too?
Yeah, yeah. My favorite was a guy had a motor home that he built a nice pad to store and all that, but it protruded like 3 or 4 feet from the front of his house, which was a violation of the HOA. And this guy actually had a tape measure. And he goes, see, it's sticking out 3 feet. I'm like, you need a hobby, pal. You really need a hobby.
That is his hobby.
Don't take up shooting.
Susie's right about that. But they get in your face because years and years and years ago, I was at an indoor range, and they technically didn't allow you to draw from a holster, right? So I was doing kind of a low ready, resting the gun on the table, and then bringing it up and shooting, engaging. So I was practicing that, and I did have a guy who was next to me, and he came around. I remember he was looking. And then he disappeared. He went back through the glass wall, out to the counter. And then the range safety officer came in and told me that I wasn't allowed to be drawing from a holster. And I said, well, I wasn't. I was, down. Oh, well, no, this guy said you were drawing from a holster. And so that was a range Karen. And I only just realized it, So
Wow.
I don't know. Well, let's offer a solution then. Now, we've identified the problem. What's the solution? Tom, what's the solution? Don't be a Richard. Yeah.
Don't be a Richard.
Don't be a Dylan.
Don't be a Dylan.
Yeah.
I think personally, my solution would be it's okay to say something if somebody's doing something that's not allowed, or even more importantly, if it's just stupid and dangerous.
Yeah, safety violation.
But
speak up.
Safety.
Yeah.
Don't be a Richard about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why am I worried about saying dick?
Don't be a dick.
Can we say that? Apparently we can.
Can we say dick? I think we can say dick.
Don't be a dick.
I don't,
Okay.
I don't know if you can
I
say
should
dick
have had
on
that
YouTube.
shirt on.
That's right. She has a shirt that says "Don't be a dick." So yeah, I know we're not surprised, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I think it's mind your own business, unless, like Susie said, there's a safety violation in the works.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like a safety issue.
Yeah.
And if you're
Well,
watching this or listening, I want to encourage some people to comment. Tell us your experiences with range Karens and range Dylans.
And how did you deal
We
with
should
it?
have
And
a
how'd you
contest
deal with
for the
it?
best
Yeah.
Karen story.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
true. So it's like what Susie says, and how did you deal with it? What did you do? Of course, knowing some of our
I
peers.
punched his lights out.
yeah. I'll drug him
Grabbed him
out.
by his
Yeah.
shirt and went,
he went to sleep. I told him to go for the light. No, I was going to add,
right.
just, don't be self-important. Have a little bit, you don't know what that person's doing. Again, we'll all agree if it's a safety issue, yeah, I don't have a problem with that. But don't be looking to insert yourself in other people's business because you're so smart and knowledgeable and perfect and important. Nobody's that way. You just aren't. Sorry if I just burst your bubble, but that's the way it is. So
the old wait, it just dawned on me. Wait, the old name for Karen was busybody.
You're right. Yep.
Don't be a
The
busybody.
1950s name, right?
Yep. Don't. That's the lady across the street, and Leave It to Beaver who would always peer out the window.
Yeah.
We're efficient now. We've shortened it. Fewer syllables now.
That's right.
So,
Yeah, don't be a busybody Karen. So
Yeah.
all right.
goodness.
Well, I hope we don't get fired.
No. Well, as Roy
I'm
said, leave
retired.
some,
I can't be fired.
That's right.
there you go. As Roy said, leave us some comments, maybe examples of range Karens you've run into and how you dealt with them, even if you put them in a sleeper hold. We'd like to hear that. So, and guys, I got to tell you, we keep forgetting to talk about this. Our best shot ever Gun Cranks episode. Have you guys been getting bombarded with email? I have. There's some great stories out there. So we are definitely, I'm saying this publicly so we can all remember this when we get together to talk about topics. We've got to do best shots ever. So the reason that's relatable is we do read your emails and we do use them as fuel for future episodes. So someday soon, we're going to do the best shot ever. So if you haven't seen that or listened to that Gun Cranks episode, go back and check it out. That was 3 or 4 ago. So
Wait. I want to do, what was your second best shot?
No. Well, because remember, if you come in second, you're still your first loser.
Your first loser.
Okay.
Yeah, what was my
Not
first
first or
loser
last.
shot? Yeah, that's right. All right.
Wow.
Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's wrap this thing up. Don't be a range, Karen or Dylan, or just don't be an ass on the range, okay? So make sure you check out all of our various properties. There's gunsmagazine.com, AmericanHandgunner.com, AmericanCop.com. We've got the Guns Magazine podcast. We've got the Gun Cranks podcast, if you don't want to see our faces. And those podcasts are available on all the podcast directories. We've also got special publications you can access through Amazon or our various websites. So I don't think I missed anything, did I, guys?
Nope.
All right.
Wow, you did
Susie
very
says we're
well.
done.
You did a fine job,
done.
Karen.
Why, thank you. Oh, I'm going to come through this lens and come. No. Anyway.
Thank you, Buford.
You don't know how important I am. People listen to what I say. No.
You're
Okay,
on like
anyway.
the town council or something, right? You are important. Were you?
Not that important.
You got elected to something.
I did, but, I figure the process actually works because I'll never go higher. So that tells me that our system of government really does work. So,
You're
Anyway.
Karen with authority.
oh
Is
my.
what you are. Yeah. Karen with
This
a
is-
badge.
This is Gun Cranks just turns into a like a negative therapy session. You walk in feeling good about yourself and your place in the world, and then by the time it's done, you feel worse for the wear. So, thanks guys. But I hope the viewers enjoy it. So, and we do it all for you guys. So, anyway, okay, we're done. It's out of here. On behalf of Roy Huntington, Susie Huntington, Tom McHale, I'm Brent Wheat, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
I'm Guns Magazine editor Brent Wheat, along with Tom McHale, editor of American Handgunner, Eric Yellowhouse, editor of AmericanCop.com, and man about town, Roy Huntington.